All right. Thank you, everybody, for watching Eastern Volleyball Network. Graham Wren, Kevin Knight unable to join us. So instead, we have Sean Yoder joining us to give us some predictions on the men's bracket for the AVP Austin. How you doing, dude?
Pretty good, man. Doing pretty good. How about you?
Doing great. Just finished up a little training session, out in the North Carolina heat. Beautiful. Yeah. So I'm excited to talk about some of these matchups. Austin, I feel like we've been waiting a while for the AVP to be back, and it's back. So
thankfully, finally, I've been waiting a while for this, man. I've been geared up, just ready for this. I'm excited about the formats and what they've really kind of done, which is awesome. Like not having a Thursday qualifier for this, having the qualifier be like another tournament was just brilliant. Whoever came up with that, it's fantastic. And I'm excited. This is going to be a good one.
I've been big on that for a couple of years now, because I feel like, if you really want to see, it's rare that teams make like gigantic leaps in standing at that high of a level, right? Like teams very rarely go from, maybe the 18th best team in the country to, the sixth best. But like going from, 15 to 12 isn't that out of the question, but that gap is so small. I feel like a lot of times the difference in, fatigue going into, that 13th place match is enough to kind of, tip the scales and favor the teams that are already ranked higher. So I'm glad they've changed it and, good for the AVP.
Absolutely. I mean, you'll see it a little more on the women's side. Like you might see a team come through the qualifier and make like a semi.
Yeah.
I don't think we've seen that on the men's side in a long time. Like Mike and Vandermeer beating Phil and Nick was a fluke, was a weird thing, them kind of going the next round, but I don't think we've seen a team come out of the qualifier other than Ricardo and Kane in New York City in 2015. I'm not
it's 2015 or 16.
Where you can't really count that as the same thing. That'd be like Anders Mole and Christian Sorum like somehow managing to play an AVP and then just smashing everybody all the way to the final. Like that would just be ridiculous. But yeah, it's exciting, man. I love that these guys have all had a little bit of rest. They've all had some time to kind of like dial in. Now that these matches could get a little squirrely, you might not see some of the outcomes that you expect. So
yeah. All right, so real quick for our viewers, as I outlined in the women's prediction video, but I'll go ahead and outline here again, the way this works, because normally for our local stuff, if we disagree and tie on something, we'll do like a coin flip or that much nonsense, but we have upped the professionalism for the AVP and we're here for it. So instead, what we're going to do is we are going to assign a confidence rating 1 through 10 in our pick, and whoever has the highest confidence rating is what pick we're going to go with, which usually means that whoever gives their confidence rating second will give a confidence rating 1 point higher than the previous.
Okay. I see what you're doing here. This is all right. Let's just say who can guess the highest number, you get one chance.
Yeah. Okay, so without further ado, the 1 versus 16, we have Triborn and Trevor Crabb against Marty Lorenz and Caleb Queckel.
Am I up first, or are you giving your opinion?
Yeah, I'll let you go first here. Okay. I'll give you the softball. I'll ease you into it, big guy.
This one obviously should go 2-0, like right out the gate. Like obviously that's a pretty good assessment. Marty and Caleb have been playing really well. From what I've seen on some of the USA training sessions that the Sandcast has been publishing, which are awesome. I'm just loving those. Those are fantastic to see what they're doing and actually see some of the stuff they're doing in their practice sessions. I expect Tri and Trevor to beat them in 2. And if they're playing the way I expect them to play, it should be a 16-17. Maybe they squeak out a 19-21 finish, but I don't expect it to go 3. If it does, I'm here for it, but I don't expect it.
We're here for it. Yeah, I'm right there with you. I mean, I think Triborn and Trevor Crabb are an Elite 16 team on the FIVB, so we're going to have to go ahead and give them the nod there. Next, we will move on to the 8-9, and this one's really interesting for me. We've got Logan Webber and Johnny Hayden against Evan Corey and Bill Kowinsky. We've got, both teams, they were originally here, and then they each swapped each other, right? So you've got, they swapped each other's partners. It's good to see some new blood in the AVP. I kind of view these teams as very even, very much a true 8-9 matchup. Kind of in the same sense that you would see at March Madness at the NCAA tournament. But for me, what kind of tips the scales here is the fact that they're playing an AVP in Austin, which is, very much known for shallow sand. Shallow sand is going to put even more of an emphasis on the blocker and the blocker's athleticism. And I think that tips the scales in the favor of Logan Webber over Bill Kalinski. What do you think?
I would say you're right on that, simply because of the fact that John Hayden is 6'5", still jumping well at 49 years old or 56 years. I don't know how old he is. He's ridiculously old.
Yeah, pretty sure he's 75.
He makes us look like we have never touched a volleyball at his age, which is wild.
Yeah.
But, given the fact that you expect John to just be automatic, that's what we've grown to expect from John Hayden, I can see this one going 3. You expect John and Logan to win this one, but I could see Evan and Bill kind of stealing this one in 3 if they can pull out some of those transition points. But I expect Logan and John to win this one.
Yeah, for sure.
They've had some rest. John might not be the same he's been in the past few years. He might be, who knows? But I expect them to win that.
Yeah, and I think the other interesting thing to keep an eye on, if for anyone who watched Kowinsky and Evan Corey play in the Norsekas, you would see a lot of, particularly when the blocker was serving, you would see Bill doing a really, really good job of optioning Evan on 2 over near his pin. Very challenging to stop, and that will get more potent on the hard pack sand as well. So that'll be something to keep an eye on, and maybe it's enough to tip the scales the other way. But we are going to go with Logan Webber and Johnny Hayden.
2 or in 3? What do you think?
We'll say 3. Everyone loves a third set.
Yeah.
All right. Next at the 5-12, we have Casey Patterson, Ed Ratledge against Tim Baumgren and Piotr Marciniak. What do you think here?
I'm going to go with Onto Eddie.
Onto Eddie. That's what I think too.
I don't know if you remember him in some of his earlier days when he would play. It was kind of he would go on to almost every single time. It was wild to watch. They've played together before, if I'm not mistaken. Back in the Cuervo tour, I think Ed and Casey had played some tournaments together. If I'm misremembering, then call me out on that. But
I was going to say the Cuervo tour is before my time.
That's right. I am. I just dated myself dramatically.
Yeah.
I expect Casey to kind of take over that match, but it's Tim Baumgren and Piotr. Piotr playing through that full dislocation, and still, taking balls off of his hand when his fingers were all jacked up.
Yeah.
Tim Baumgren is just a weird grinder. You can't expect him to give you anything, which is weird. So I expect Casey and Ed to win, but who knows with this one? This one could go 3. It could, could sway. I'm going to go Ed and Casey on this one.
Yeah. Well, so my thing here that really tips the scales is that I believe Tim Baumgren will be playing left side.
Really?
Yeah. When I think back in 2021 for an AVP Next Gold, the AVP Next Gold that they won, played Jeff Samuels and Rafa Paulus in the final there. Tim was playing left, and he does a really good job as a lefty, but as a self-proclaimed lefty and a left-handed player, from a young age, left-handed guys are just kind of shoved over to the right side no matter what, and it really takes a lot of work to kind of overcome that and become balanced. And then even if you do put in all the work to to overcome that. It's still like that much of just an intuitive thing being on the right versus switching over to the left. So I feel like it's enough that I feel like that's enough in addition to, how high of a level Casey Patterson has been playing at year after year. So
Right. You also have to take into consideration, is Piotr's setting good enough to make sure that that ball gets to his hitting shoulder?
right.
He's leaving it inside every single time. That ball is going to get more challenging to hit. But I feel like Piotr's a good enough setter that he can get that ball, assuming they're going to serve Tim. That Clearwater tournament, though, I mean, that's different. That sand is like concrete. So everybody's doing that sand. So, I mean, that could be, could see something similar, but yeah. That's an interesting development. So we'll see how it goes.
Yeah. All right. So next up, it looks like we have Troy Field and Chase Buttinger against Rafa Rodriguez and Dave Palm.
This one
I guess my first question is what happened to Burek?
Yeah, this one I get a little spicy about, because I feel like this. I think you and I might have talked about this before, as well as like how Burek and Palm ended up getting in over Joyner and Friend. Based on points, or maybe I was talking to somebody else about it, but it was like how they were seeded in the start of the tournament determined who got the bid for this, not how you finished.
No, that they made a semi. They made the semi.
Burek and Palm?
Yeah.
No, they did not.
Yes, they did. I promise you. They made
it up right now.
They posted a whole photo on Instagram. I think one of them was holding up a 1, and then the other one was holding up a 3.
You're right. They lost to Cook and Weber in the semi. You're right. My bad.
Yeah.
So somebody else beat them then. It should have gone to Joyner and Friend. There was a conflict. It should have gone to Joyner and Friend.
You're talking about Rafik, Paulus, and Jeff Samuels.
It ended up going to Rafik, Paulus, and Jeff Samuels because of their points, I guess. Which, I feel some type of way about that. I feel like if you're gonna substitute somebody in, because in this situation, Sean Cook gets the short end of the stick, having the tournament. Not getting to pick somebody up for that spot, which kind of sucks for him.
Yeah.
Unless he had a conflict, which is a total other side of the thing. But
I don't think so. I think it was I think he went in knowing that he was not going to get the bid.
Yeah.
But that's all that being said, I feel pretty confident about taking Field and Buttinger here.
Yes. Yeah. Dave Palm's good. Rafa's definitely really good. He's got a very good jump serve, placement, and pace is really on point. But it's, Chase and Troy, they're the number 4 team for USA right now. So they're playing pretty well against some high level teams.
Right.
That one should be an easy finish into, unless Troy decides that he gets the yips for some weird reason, which is usually what happens.
Yeah. All right. So now at the 314, we have Camshaft, Theo, Brunner against Rafik, Paulus, and Jeff Samuels. You think Rafi and El Jefe have a chance here? Do you think the size and discipline of Theo at the net combined with the steadiness of Cam is just way too much for them to handle?
Yeah, I mean, if you had to pair up, Brunner and Schalke against some of the teams that they've beaten on the World Tour,
right?
The teams that they've beaten on the World Tour by 7 or 8 points, I think would roll through Rafi and Jeff. No disrespect to them, because I think they would still do well in a qualifier, at some place. But I mean, you're not beating teams and making a really good finish, and dropping a match like this. You shouldn't, at least. This is the way that probably should get said. But
right,
there's always a chance. Anybody can beat anybody in this game. So maybe Jeff does something that is different from what he usually does. Rafi seems to be playing better. I've seen some of his recent stuff, and he seems to be playing really, really well. He seems to be really springy. He's got his arm is really looking live. So
yeah,
maybe he might find a little wiggle room there.
Yeah, find a little crack in the armor, but That
Doubtful,
being
but
said, we're gonna go with Theo and Cam.
yeah.
All right. Next at the 6 versus the 11, we have Billy Allen and Jeremy Casepierre against Paul Watman and Skyward Del Sol. In what, in a lot of ways, is a little bit of when you think of the Spider-Man meme where they're pointing at each other. We've got a little bit of that going on. Yeah, Paul and Jeremy are both blockers that bring a ton of surface pressure from the line. Really have really live arms from back there. And Billy Allen, definitely a defender who has been playing at a really high level for a long time, frankly, on tour. Skyward Del Sol has been rising pretty quickly through the ranks, going back to probably 2018. I want to say he was playing with Bruno Amorim, and he kind of kept climbing his way up.
Him and Ed Ratledge in the Long Beach series really kind of like made him more of a mainstay with how well he played in those events, because him and Ed stole some games and played real well. And Skyler looked like he was kind of coming into that Billy Allen style of play where it's really consistent. It's very much like this slow roll where he's just going to grind at you and score points. It doesn't look like he's, giving off much effort, but he's still just up there scoring points. So I kind of look at the
biggest difference in their game. I was going to say the biggest difference between the two is probably one might be a lot more sunburnt than the other.
Very much so.
Yeah.
All right. I kind of look at them like as kind of like new school, old school. Like Billy and Jeremy are kind of like that older generation, but they're very similar in their styles. They both kind of have a very similar style. I'm really looking forward to New Orleans when Miles Partain comes back, because him and Paul Watman are just different. They're just a different team altogether. No disrespect to Skyler, but he's not Miles Partain.
Right. So who do you like here? Do you want to go with Billy Allen and Casepierre, or do you want to go the other way?
I'm probably going to go Billy and Jeremy, just because of that experience and that discipline. Billy Allen is just hard to stop. I expect they're going to serve Jeremy because that's what everybody does, because sometimes Jeremy will get in his own way about his passing and then not side out the way he can because he's got a heavy arm. This one could go 3. I expect it to go 3, so I expect Jeremy and Billy to pull it out in 3.
All right. Well, I think they'll get it in 2, but we're in agreement that it'll be Billy Allen and Jeremy Casepierre. All right, the 7 versus the 10. We have Taylor Crabb, Taylor Sander against Eric Brannick and Avery Drost. I don't think there's a ton to cover here, to be honest. I think this is a team that's the 7 seed, frankly, just because Taylor Sander is recently transferring from U.S. men's national team on the indoor side, and hasn't gotten the opportunity to accrue any points on the AVP. So all of his AVP points are actually from playing FIVB events. Shout out to Bally's for updating the system to at least try to get those included, which you love to see. Frankly, it was a big hole in the AVP's system for a long time, in my mind. You would have I feel like for years, Triborn was coming in with little to no points because he was on the world tour so much. And it was like, okay, this is ridiculous. But
there's a lot of people not happy with the point change and how many people got screwed over, especially at our level. Like, a lot of people's finishes were just gone. And so now they had, a third of the points that they had. And so,
well, that's the funny thing is people got stuck in the COVID window where it was like, oh, we're just going to keep extending it because we can't expect people to play during COVID. Now, COVID's basically gone. It's a good thing they went back to 365-day window, as someone whose points have taken a few hits as finishes drop out. But
and you and I have talked about that at length. And so I hope going forward they kind of make some adjustments. Maybe at our level they make adjustments and not make adjustments at the upper tier. So once you kind of eclipse that upper tier, you don't have to worry about some of those things anymore. But this one's a weird matchup. Taylor and Taylor have been playing well in spurts. Seeing some of their video and seeing some of the Norseca stuff, they've been playing well in spurts. But you also have to, take into account Avery, Drost, and Eric are playing well as well, and they might be able to steal a set. You hope, that Taylor and Taylor are going to just finally figure everything out and dial everything in, and that it comes together and they just start smashing people the way everyone expects them to. But I see this going 3 as well. I honestly see this one going 3, and I see Tay taking this one in third set.
Tay. I think it's important to keep in mind that Taylor and Taylor have gone through we'll say streaky, I guess, to your point, where they're giving up some points against world-class teams. And no disrespect to Avery and Eric, but they're not a world-class team in my mind. I can't remember, I don't think Eric has played an FIVB event. It's been a long time, if ever, that since Avery's played one. They're pretty glued in on just the domestic only. So I think, I don't know if Avery has the size at the net to really affect what they're doing either. So
yeah, they're living down there on in Southern California, if I'm not mistaken, and training with a lot of those guys. So they see most of these guys every week. So they're getting higher level reps against Kane and Theo, against Taylor, against Try and Trevor. They're seeing some of those reps. So I expect them to do well. I think I watched some video when they were scrimmaging the Latvian team, and they did fairly well against the Latvian team, and that's not an easy pushover. That's not an easy team by any stretch. And so
yeah,
I don't know.
How would you compare Ian Bicko and Nolan Albrecht to some of those teams you just mentioned?
Which the Latvian team?
Yeah,
that's
because they knocked off Eric and Avery down in Panama City.
That's right, they did.
So,
that was surprising, to be honest with you. I mean, obviously it's not unheard of, but I saw that and I was like, oh wow, that's a huge win. That's not just that's not an everyday win. That's, you win that one 4 maybe 5 times out of 10, if you're really on point with your game, because that's a really big win for Ian.
Yeah. All right, so we've got Crab and Sander. I'm going to go ahead and say in 2. Next, we've got Benish and Dahlhauser, quite the interesting pairing against, I believe, Salila Tucker and Lev Prima.
Yeah.
I think we got to go with team 6'9".
Yeah. I'm so curious to watch this match, and I'm waiting for this match. This is going to be an interesting. This one and the one after it, where if Andy and Phil win, which they should, I'm hoping they split block the whole tournament.
I'm sure they will.
Amazing.
And I also think we'll see Benish on the right side.
Yeah, there's no way he's playing left. Phil's not playing right side.
Right.
If he does, kudos. That's awesome. Who do you serve? Do you serve Phil or Andy? You serve Phil because he's a little bit behind the 8 ball, and you might steal some points from what most people have been doing the last year. Most people on the World Tour started serving him over Nick a little more than usual. So, he's not touching elbow at the top of the antenna anymore. So
elbow at the top of the antenna. It'll definitely be interesting to see how they do as we keep going later in the tournament.
Yeah.
But for now we'll go with Benish and Dahlhauser.
I will have to say Lev and Lila have an explosive ceiling, and they're really, really capable of making some waves. And I think that once they kind of get past some of these big teams, they actually start going a little deeper in tournaments. So who knows? They're a fun team to watch, and they have some upside to just really do some big things. So I'm excited about seeing them in the future if they stay together.
Nice. Yeah, that'll be exciting. All right. So at the 8 versus 9, we have, or not the 8-9, the 1 versus the 8, we have Triborn, Trevor Crabb, Logan Weber, Johnny Hayden.
Yeah, Try and Trevor in 2. I don't see that being much of a challenge for them, unless Logan somehow finds a different gear and just shuts down both Try or Trevor, whoever they serve. I'm not sure who they're going to serve, to be honest with you.
Yeah, no, I would have to agree. And to that point, I do think that teams will go at Trevor more than Try, just from a standpoint of, Trevor's style is to hit a lot more shots, which becomes you have to be that much more precise and fast with your shots on, shallow or Sam. So I think teams will generally go at Trevor more, but I do think that Try and Trevor will take this, pretty routinely.
Yeah, for sure.
All right. 5-4, Casey Patterson, Ed Ratledge against Troy Field and Chase Buttinger.
It's funny that like Casey's played with everybody in this match. Like,
yeah.
Occasions.
Well, yeah.
Or kind of tried to play with Troy and then was like, no. Right.
Well, yeah, I'd be curious to hear what really happened there because I think part of it too was I do think he was genuinely excited to play with Troy, and then the 2020 Champions Cup happened where points were everything, and he was like, "Oh, the cutoff is a lot higher than usual. I've got to go ahead and make a decision here." Yeah.
But fair. I think Patterson and Ratledge take it.
Really?
Yeah, I think they do. That's a hard decision to make, but I honestly feel like Patterson and Ratledge take it. Yeah, they win this one.
See, so I'm absolutely going the other way. I think they're going to give Ed Ratledge probably 85% of the balls. They're going to try to take Casey Patterson completely out of the match. They're going to force Ed to do everything.
That one will be interesting to see. I think that's a great strategy going forward. You have to realize that if Ed is dialed in on any of those serves and they're not putting any kind of pressure on him to not put Casey up on two, Casey on two is a problem from either left or right.
Right.
He is probably behind Phil, he's probably the most dangerous on two attacker, or at least has been for quite some time. So
I'd put Triborn above him, but point taken.
I'd say they're about equal, but yeah, it's a good point. All right, so we coin flipping on this one. That's right. We
confidence pick, and I'm going a full blown. I'm going to say a 9 for Field and Buttinger. So if you really want it, you got it, but you've got to really put your cojones on the table if you're going to take Rutledge and Casey Patterson here.
Well, let me just make this video not be able to get posted. If Casey and Ed win, it's in 3, and it's a close 15-13, 16-14. It's not a blowout. It's not a blowout by any. If I think you're right on your confidence pick. If Chase and Troy win, it's in 2. If Casey and Ed win, it's in 3.
Interesting.
I don't see Casey and Ed winning in 2. So there is that. So your confidence pick on that one is pretty spot on with them winning in 2, and I think that's the case. But there's a strong argument to be made that Ed and Casey win in 3.
We will definitely watch that match with a lot of interest. That's for sure. All right, Camshaft, Theo Brunner against Billy Allen and Jeremy Casepierre.
This one all depends on Theo's passing. If Jeremy's lighting it up from the service line, this one all depends on Theo's passing.
Yeah.
Because I feel like you don't go at Kame in this match. Kame is going to chop Jeremy to pieces.
Right. I will say though, there is some 2019 AVP Seattle footage of Casepierre just being untouchable from the service line.
Right. That's what I'm saying. If Theo's passing is any sort of off, Jeremy and Billy win this. Yeah. But I think Kame and Theo take it just due to the fact that they've probably played a lot more volleyball recently. And if, I don't know. I haven't seen or heard anything from Jeremy or Billy in a while, so I don't know what they're doing. I don't know, what what their goal is for this, which I assume is to continue to play as long as they can. I don't think either of them are going to play World Tour stuff anymore, which is kind of tragic because I would love to see them kind of play some games out there. So, but
I think I agree with you, and I got to go with Theo and Kame as well. I mean, I think the strides that Kame and Theo have made across the board, and that we particularly that we got to see in Itapema, I think shouldn't be discounted. So we will go with that. All right, next, Benish Dahlhauser against Crab and Sander. What do you think?
Crab and Sander in 2.
Crab and Sander in 2.
I feel like neither Andy nor Phil at this point really are going to have a handle on Taylor Sander if they serve Taylor Sander. If they serve Taylor Crabb, that's a mistake. He's going to chop either of them to pieces. None of them are going to do anything about Taylor Crabb's shots. He's just going to literally chop them to pieces. They might have a shot serving Taylor Sander, but dude, it's Taylor Sander. He's going to beat hands all day long. He's ridiculous. His arm is ridiculous. So I see them winning it too.
Yeah. I would have to agree with you. I don't know if a semi-retired Phil or an Andy Bennett bring enough pressure from the service line to really knock them out of system. And I think Taylor has shown us for a few years now that he can that he can side out against Phil Dahlhauser, even with Nick Lucena behind him. So yeah.
All right. Next up.
Yeah. All right. Next up, we have Tri-born Trevor Crabb against Troy Field and Chase Buttinger.
That one could go either way. Seeing some of the training matches that they've done in the USA training practices, Troy and Chase have stolen some matches from them. They've stolen some big moments. And so that one, I think that one goes 3, but I think Tri and Trevor take it. They seem to have found a rhythm right now, and so they're going to take that one.
Yeah, I like your confidence there, and I do want to go with Tri and Trevor. All right, so in our next match we have Camshaft Theo Brunner against Taylor Crabb Taylor Sander. Real spicy.
That one is spicy, man. That one's hard. That's a very challenging match to even talk about. You have this matchup with the same Cam and Theo now. 2 years from now, I think they lose 21-15, 21-16. Right now, I don't think that they lose that match like 7 out of 10. I think that they win that match 7 out of 10.
So you like Theo and Cam, or do you like Taylor? Sorry, you like. I've been multitasking over here, trying to make sure we didn't run out of time.
No, you're good. I saw that. I saw that. I like Cam and Theo winning that one. They're playing really well right now, and that one's going to be a good one, and it's going to go 3. But I expect Cam and Theo to win that one.
Yeah, I like it because I do think the as much as you talked about Taylor Sander, just beating hands, and I think Taylor Sanders' serve could potentially have a really, a particularly large impact in Austin. We should not forget to emphasize Theo Brunner's status at the net in Austin on the hardback sand. So I like Theo to have a big presence, and like Cam has been covering a lot of court, again, particularly looking at Itapema. So I'm fine going with Schalk and Brunner here.
Yep.
All right, so losers round, 13th place game. We have Salila Tucker left Prima against Avery Drost and Eric Brannick.
That one's tough. I think Lev and Lila take it.
Really?
Yeah. They're, like I said, man, they've got a high ceiling, and if it's Lev and Sean Cook, they definitely take it. But there's a component there that I don't think Lila has, that Sean has, or at least that Sean's been showing. But I still think they beat Eric and Avery.
Interesting. Okay. Because I feel like for a few years now we've been watching Lev Prima make it into main draws through the qualifier, but I don't, I can't remember the last time I saw him win a match in the main draw. Not to disparage, what he's doing on the court, but kind of the reality of it is I've seen him take a lot of 13ths. So I kind of got to go with Baranek and Drost here, but I'm not feeling super confident. I'm gonna put my confidence at like a 4.
I was gonna say it would be like a 6 for Avery and Eric, to normally win it. But I don't know. That's my gut instinct is that they're gonna win it. So
yeah. So how confident are you? What's your confidence rating here?
like a 5.
Yeah, see, there we are.
I'm right in the middle of thinking this could go either way. It's on like a 50-50 pick on whether 11 win, but I think they have a little bit more of an edge to win. I don't know. I think they're rested. They're not going through the qualifier. If they had to come out of the qualifier to face Avery and Eric in that first round of contenders, they lose.
Yeah, I mean that is a fair point. Is that we talked about the advantage of not having to play the qualifier the day before, and maybe that is enough for Lev to get over the hump there. So we'll go ahead and go with Tucker and Prima to win that one. All right, next we have Paulus and Samuels against Del Sol and Watman.
Damn.
See, I like Paul Watman's serve to have a big impact here. I like Skyward to be very steady.
Yes. That's the pick because Paul Watman has shown that he can beat big teams in big moments. And so has Skylar. But yeah, I definitely think that they win. They went over Rafi and Jeff.
Yeah. All right. Next, we have Baumgren and Marciniak against Rafa Rodriguez and Dave Palm.
Baumgren, Marciniak in 2.
I think I got to agree with you there as well.
Yeah. If this was like 2017 Rafu and, maybe a different player, not Dave Palm, they might have a better chance at winning now. But
yeah,
Dave Palm hasn't really been the Dave Palm he was when he was on the NBL tour. I'm not seeing it. So, yeah.
All right. Oh, wow. This one's interesting. Evan Corey, Bill Kowinsky against Marty Lorenz and Caleb Queckel. Nice little rematch of Panama City Beach semifinal.
Semi, yeah. Who won that semi?
Queckel and Lorenz did, but what we failed to mention for Avery Drost and Baranek, and is definitely important to keep in mind, was just how absurdly windy that Panama City Beach tournament was.
Yes.
Which is, so for me, it's kind of like when you remove the wind component, from you remove the heavy wind component from the match, and I feel like Bill Kowinsky's athleticism is going to shine here. I think Evan Corey's vertical and physicality is really going to be a difference here.
Yeah, and I think the same goes for Caleb. He's got a great serve. His ability to place the ball with pace is really, really well. He sides out well. Marty Lorenz is looking different as a blocker. That is like the biggest thing that I've noticed since like 2017, seeing him play in more main draws. I was like, he looks different now. He looks like he's jumping higher. He looks like he's playing better. I think Caleb and Marty win it. I honestly do. I think they win it in 2. I don't think it goes 3 again.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So the other narrative that I need to bring in from the women's prediction video was we made a big deal about thinking that Savvy Simo was probably going to go further in the tournament than Evan Corey was. Ooh. But I don't think this is the match where it happens. I think I do like Bill Kowinsky to do what Bill Kowinsky does and just be the big fundamental out there and systematically take away Caleb's options. And you combine that with Evan's athleticism on hardback sand, and I like that team. I'm feeling a 7.
Yeah. Knowing the scores from that match, 21-13, 21-17, 17-15, that 21-13 speaks volumes to your confidence of them winning 7 out of 10, or winning that match 7 out of 10. That's a big number. Beating a team like Caleb and Marty 21-13 is a big thing. But the win could factor into that. So you might see those scores get a little closer.
Yeah.
I'm saying, I'm saying my confidence of them winning is probably like a 6 or a 7. So this one might come down to like a toss up. But I think the experience of Bill Kowinsky and your point of playing in a more calm, controlled environment does probably edge out the new team of Marty and Caleb. So I think going with Bill and Evan is probably the move.
Okay. All right. 9th place, Tucker and Prima against Patterson and Ratledge. I want to go Casey and Ed in 2. What do you think?
Yeah, in 2, probably 15, 16, 14, 15, something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think just a bit more, just biting off a bit more than they can chew there.
Yeah.
All right, we have Skyward Del Sol, Paul Watman against Logan Weber and Johnny Hayden for 9th place.
That's a rough one. Would love to see John Hyde and Logan Weber win this one. I would love to see it, but for some reason I don't see it. I don't see it happening. Like, I would love to see Logan really have a good finish in his first big tournament with his first big name guy, but I just don't see them. I don't see them winning.
Yeah, I mean, so my question. So we know that Paul Watman has gone pretty deep into tournaments playing with Miles Partain. What's the deepest that Skyward has gone in an event?
I want to say a quarter with Ed Ratledge in one of the Gold Series. Granted, a smaller field, better competition. Every match was against somebody big, so I think that was the one that he went a little deeper. I'm honestly not sure about that, but I don't know. There's something about an untested, like truly untested kind of guy like Logan Weber in a big moment like this that I think that he's a little too streaky still to win a match that, give him another couple of years with a guy like John to train and kind of grind out some of those inconsistencies, and they win this handily. Like they win this like Hayden was playing with Sean Scott in the old days. Like that was just an unstoppable team. And so
yeah,
Logan has that ceiling. I feel like he could have that ceiling, but I don't think they make it past this round.
Yeah, it's interesting because I'm tempted to go with Weber and Hayden, but then it kind of the combination of what you said, and then also like there is the kind of internal mental doubt of like how much longer can Johnny Hayden keep doing this, and like every year he keeps proving a crap ton of people wrong. But all that being said, I'm down to go Del Sol and Watman.
Yeah, there's nothing that I would like to be wrong about more than this, just to John Hayden to be like, you're all wrong and you're always going to be wrong. And would be a huge win for Logan Weber. Like getting to that next round would be gigantic for Logan Weber's career.
Yeah.
And I mean, the kid has been grinding it out for a long time now. And I think he's like, he's pretty deserving of that kind of a win. So
sure. All right, next we have Baumgren, Marciniak against Andy Benish and Phil Dahlhauser.
Another weird one, man. Like you expect Phil and Andy to win, but who knows if they've ever played together before. You don't know if they've ever played together. So I expect them to win, so I'm going to use them, but who knows, man. This one's a weird one. Tim Baumgren's he's just Tim Baumgren.
Yeah, I mean, well, I think it's also worth noting that like last season, for example, with being in Minnesota, he definitely came out the beginning of the season flat, and it took him a few events to really find his stride with Casepierre. So kind of for that reason, and then you combine that with the fact that he's going to have to play left with Marciniak, and I just witnessed what can potentially be the travesty of a lefty playing on the left against a big block. So I think we got to go with Andy Benish and Phil Dahlhauser.
Love the insight.
Yeah. All right. Next, we've got Evan Corey, Bill Kalinski against Billy Allen and Jeremy Casepierre.
I think Billy and Jeremy take that one.
Yeah.
I think there is a potential for Evan and Bill to win. Like, I mean, there always is. If they do it in 3, but I think Billy and Jeremy take it.
Yeah. It's like, I feel like Bill Kowinsky's best tournaments, like year in, year out, are always in the deepest sand, where Bill Kowinsky can go back and hit that high floater back into your corner and just kind of wear you down. Kind of that grinding style that, I think really fits pretty nicely with what Evan Corey brings back there. But when you put that on hard pack sand, it just favors what Casepierre brings to the table so much. It's hard to pick against him.
I mean, I think there is an actual final of maybe a semi of Jeremy just like rattling off like 4 aces in a row in Austin. So like this might be his spot. Like he might just be able to go back and just rip serves in the sand. So who knows? Who knows what Jeremy's going to bring to the table late in the day like that?
Yeah, well, I was going to say, I remember Seattle 2019. Chase Buttinger and Casey Patterson were on the receiving end of like 6 aces in a row from Casepierre in that semi.
Dude, that was different. That was like everybody was like, "What is happening right now? There's no way you can pass this ball."
Right. All right, we've got Del Sol and Watman against Casey Patterson and Ed Ratledge.
Casey and Ed. This is crunch time, and I don't expect Casey to fold because he rarely has in these moments in the last 5 years. So
right.
Expect Casey and Ed to win that one too.
Yeah, it's kind of like something I noticed about. I don't remember what year it was, where I think it was 2018, where Casey Patterson was like bouncing. He bounced between Stafford Slick and Theo Brunner, and it was like you looked at his finishes, and he never had worse or better than a 5th. He was literally just like, okay, look, like these teams are better than me, but I have this blocker and I have this consistency to my side out game that unless you are that, on that kind of next wave teams, you're just not going to beat me. And I kind of feel like that's still going to be the case.
Yep.
All right. Benish and Dahlhauser against Billy Allen, Jeremy Casepierre.
It's Austin. So I think Billy and Jeremy win. If Jeremy's serve is doing what it's doing, but then again, you got Phil from the service line. So there's kind of an equalizer there. But again, if you're serving Jeremy, and he's siding out well, they win that one. So I'm expecting Billy and Jeremy to win that one.
No, I like that pick as well. I think we've given Benish and Dahlhauser a lot of wins kind of based on matchups and what we think they can do. Versus I feel like, Billy Allen is, very, very battle tested. And then on top of that, you're giving Billy Allen the opportunity who thrives on chopping up people who were born to play defense. And now he's chopping up people who were born to block. So, I think, I do think they'll go at Jeremy, but I feel like that's just a good indicator and a good opportunity for them to, go ahead and get a win here.
Yeah, agreed.
All right, Casey Patterson, Ed Ratledge versus Taylor Crabb, Taylor Sander. It's the 5th place game.
This one is rough. I think this is where Casey bows out. I just think both the pressure from Taylor Crabb and Taylor Sander is going to overwhelm both Ed and Casey in this moment. Like, Casey does well against certain players. I just don't feel like I've ever seen him do like exceptionally well against Taylor Crabb.
Sure. And then on top of that, again, I do think that teams will generally be going at Ed. So I think, I think the combination of Taylor Sanders' jumper from the service line in Austin with Taylor Crabb playing defense is going to be too much for them to handle.
Yeah, agreed.
All right. Billy Allen, Jeremy Casepierre against Troy Field, Chase Buttinger.
Definitely Chase and Troy. That's a different level of team there. That's just not the same as the previous round. So Chase and Troy win this one too.
It's funny because are you familiar with the concept of like stacking your bracket in NCAA bracket pools, where like if you're gonna go out on a limb and pick an upset, you kind of like wave it if that makes sense. So that like if you think
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Yeah, that makes sense.
where it's like if you're gonna pick an 8 over the 1 the next round, you got to pick like the 4 over the 8. You got to like keep giving yourself a chance to, like redeem and get back in it. Versus if you pick that 8 seed, go to the final 4, and then they end up losing to the 1. It's like, oh well, I just missed all these games. This kind of feels like that for me for picking Billy Allen and Jeremy Casepierre. Like they've like it. I feel like there is a world where Evan Corey and Bill Kalinski win that match against them. But just more than likely, I think Jeremy and Billy win. And then they have to go through, team 6'9". And now we're asking them to go through Troy Field and Chase Buttinger. And it just feels like it's a lot. And it feels like there's no way they're going to get through all 3 of these matches.
Right. I think you're right. Especially if you're serving Troy. I mean, Jeremy's block is not, he's not stopping Troy on a regular basis.
Yeah. But at the same time, it's not like Troy and Chase are digging a ton of balls either.
That's true. That's true. With Billy's consistency, Billy's going to side out, and so if he doesn't get served that much, he's going to put Jeremy up to be able to side out. So Chase's block though is getting better. He's making better reads. He's getting his hands in better positions. He's actually, doing what is expected of a guy his size and of his athleticism. So that, that's going to be different. I see him shutting Jeremy down.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Well, we will go with Field and Buttinger then. So now we're at the semifinal, and we have the matchup that everyone wanted to see. Triborn Trevor Crabb against Taylor Crabb and Taylor Sander.
This one has gone back and forth a couple of different times. They've played well against each other, and then this one is gonna be like the match to watch. If you're gonna watch any match throughout this tournament, this is the one that you're gonna want to watch if it makes it to that point, which you expect it to. I don't know how to call this one, man. I honestly don't. I feel like Tri and Trevor should win 7 out of 10, but I feel like this is one of those analogous moments to like Atlanta where Cloth and Nuss beat Sarah Sponsel and Kelly Clays.
Sure.
I feel like this is a moment like that where like you have a team that could just come out of their shoes and win. I like Taylor and Taylor in this match. I feel like they're gonna eke one out. It's it's gonna be a tight one.
Yeah, I like that pick, and I'm down to go with Crabb and Sander.
Hashtag never Trevor,
right? Hashtag never Trevor. All right, so the other semi, we have Schalk and Brunner against Field and Buttinger. And I'm leaning pretty strongly on Schalk and Theo here.
Yeah, they've shown consistently that they can beat Troy and Chase.
Right.
Both in practices and in qualifier matches and Norsecas and stuff.
Yeah.
They've just shown that consistency. So I'm inclined to say that Theo and Kane.
Yeah. I'm surprised that we somehow managed to not. So of the top 4 teams, I think, and by top 4, I mean the teams that we have making it to the winners round of 4. So like not Benish and Dahlhauser, just from a standpoint of, they're not practicing together. They're not like a traditional team. Phil's semi-retired. So kind of sub Taylor Crabb and Taylor Sander in for that. So you have Try and Trevor, Came and Theo, Taylor and Taylor, Field and Buttinger. And I feel like Field and Buttinger are by far the most susceptible of the 4. But I'm just kind of shocked we ended up not really. There wasn't a matchup where we felt like going against them. So I'm kind of surprised that we had them going this far. Like the hot takes, the Stephen A. Smith within me, would have wanted to pick against them at some point, but it just didn't feel right. But I think this is where their journey comes to an end.
Yeah, it's interesting that these 4 teams are USA's 4 teams that are currently competing on the FIVB. We tried Trevor being the number 1 team, Cam and Theo being number 2, Chase and Troy being the number 3, Taylor and
Taylor and Taylor being number 3.
Not by points.
Even after Norseca.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Don't forget about Benish and Lucena, who.
Okay. So yeah, since they're not in the semifinal,
right?
I'm gonna leave them off the list, and then them dropping that match that they should have easily won, in Mexico, definitely kind of has me questioning whether or not they're gonna do good things on the FIVB. But points wise, Trevor, Came Theo, Troy Chase, Tay. But when it comes to what I think that should be, it should definitely be Trevor, Tay, Came and Theo, Troy, Chase. I think that should be that probably will be how it ends up flushing out. But for now, I mean, that's kind of where it sits.
Yeah.
Like, of the 4 teams, Troy and Chase are the weakest team in that group, which is a weird thing to say because they're probably 2 of the most athletic in that group.
Right.
But there's also something to be said about several different players that are just different. They're just built different.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that Troy and Chase definitely drop that semi.
Yeah. So we'll go with Cam and Theo. Probably in 2, I would think.
Yeah.
But it might go 3.
It might go 3. All these semis could go 3 very easily, man. It's just awesome for how good these players are.
Yeah. All right. So in the final, we have Taylor Crabb, Taylor Sander against Camshaft, Theo Brunner.
That one comes back to the winners bracket round where they win. I think either they get some redemption or it goes 3 and Cam and Theo sneak it out. I think they've got the upside on this one and they've kind of dialed some things in. I think you and I talked about this before. I haven't seen Cam Sharp play defense like he was playing in Itapema like in a while. I mean, I even told him, I was like, dude, you look different. This is a different style of player. This is reminiscent of Rio 2016.
Right.
He looked like he found something somewhere and it was just wild to see. So if he maintains that going into that final, maintains that high level of competition, I feel like they win. But again, hard pack sand, Taylor Sanders live arm, there's no telling what's going to happen.
True. But also, I just can't pick against good guy Theo.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
that's true. So I think they win. I don't think it goes. I think it's 3. I think they win in 3 and extras. So wait, is the freeze still in effect, or did they finally get rid of that?
I think they got rid of the freeze. I think Bally's was from a standpoint of wanting to make events a little more. I'm not entirely sure, but I heard that they got rid of the freeze.
Okay, because they weren't doing it in Panama City.
Right, but that's an AVP next, so I guess we'll find out. I don't know if they're doing it or not, but I'm glad we're in agreement. We're picking good guy Theo. Love me some Theo Brunner. Dude's been grinding for a while. Feels like Theo's been on the cusp of doing some really, really great things for a while. So I'm excited to hopefully see him take this one home in Austin.
Yeah, I feel like this is their tournament to win. Who did you guys have winning the women's side? I'm really curious to know that one.
Kalinski and Hughes.
Oh, really?
Well, so we actually split on it because we were both in agreement that Kowinsky and Hughes would play Pavin and Humana Paredes twice in the winner semi and then in the final. I was of the opinion that Kowinsky and Hughes would take it both times. Shane was of the opinion that they would play in both rounds and whichever team won the first would lose the second.
Interesting. I do not have Sarah and Val in the final. Yeah.
We'll see. We shall certainly see.
I'm honestly expecting Lily and Larissa to be in the final with Taryn and Kristen.
I think we had that. I think we had them losing to Pavin in Humana Paredes. But thank you everyone for sticking around with us through this prediction bracket. We love doing this. I enjoyed running through this bracket with you, Sean. Appreciate it. We definitely got in the weeds. We were like acres back in the farmland in the weeds. So
you know me, man. You know I love this stuff. You know I love kind of delving into this stuff. It's like this has been a long time coming for you and me, especially to kind of do some of these because we talk about it so much.
Yeah.
We've been doing these on our own in our group chat for what, 5 years now, talking trash about who's going to win tournaments.
Yeah.
So it's cool.
Well, thank you everyone for watching. Like and subscribe.
Have a good night.
Have a good night.